Good day, everyone. Let me introduce myself first. I am Gregorio, and now I am going to discuss our Module 5 for our subject Human-Computer Interaction 2. This module is entitled The Types and Fidelity of Prototypes. Before we are going to proceed on our discussion, let me define first what fidelity and prototype is. Sa Module 4 kanina, na-discuss naman na kung ano yung prototype, pero to refresh our minds, prototype is like a pretend version of the game or an app. Prototype refers to a preliminary version or a mock-up of a software or hardware system. Kumbaga, ang prototype is a blueprint nung gagawin nating software or hardware system or app na pinaplano natin, or kung web man yan, yun yung blueprint niya. Yung prototype yung magsisilbing blueprint ng mga yon. So, the act of making a prototype is called a prototyping. This is a key concept in the iterative design process. So, ano nga ba yung iterative design process? Iterative design process is making a multiple copies of the prototype and refining them each time. Depending on the data gathered on the users, kung ano ba yung insights nila regarding those prototypes, kung may babaguhin ba, kung may tatanggalin ba. So, with those data gathered, we make improvements on the prototype or prototypes. On the other hand, fidelity refers to how close a prototype is to the final product. Ito yung, kumbaga, span kung gaano ka na ba kalapit dun sa final product mo. On this slide, we can see in here that there are two types of fidelity prototypes. Pinagsama na sila. Upon reading those, makikita mo na kung ano yung meaning nila. Kumbaga, pag low fidelity kasi, sinasabi natin yung span kung gaano ka nakalapit dun sa final product mo, 'di ba? Pag low, ibig sabihin, medyo malayo-layo ka pa. Pero andun na yung progress. Pag high naman, ibig sabihin, malapit ka na. Sa high fidelity prototypes, masasabi natin na almost ready na for implementation or closest to the final design of a product. Pero this time, mag-focus muna tayo sa low fidelity prototypes. And later on, after natin ma-discuss kung ano yung low fidelity, didig deeper tayo into the high fidelity prototypes. The goal of low fidelity prototypes is to outline a product's flow and test the usefulness and usability of its functionality. Sa low fidelity prototypes daw, ang goal na ito ay makita natin yung flow ng product and kung gaano ba siya magiging kapaki-pakinabang and yung functionality ng isang product. Under ng low fidelity prototypes, meron tayong 3 examples which are the sketches, the paper prototypes, and the click-through prototypes. First, we are going to discuss muna about the sketches. The sketches are often free-form and pen and pencil drawings that map out on initial ideas. Kumbaga, with pen or pencil and paper on your side, makakabuo ka na ng sketches on what you want to do or anong gusto mong gawing app or software or hardware system. Katulad na ito. Sa example ko dito, meron tayong relo dito na prototype ng isang relo. And here, may sketch tayo ng cellphone din. So, the second example of low fidelity prototypes that we are going to discuss is the paper prototypes. To continue our discussion regarding the paper prototypes under the low fidelity prototypes, um, these prototypes are often collaborative and is a good first step before going through the interactive prototypes. Later on, we will discuss about the interactive prototypes under the high fidelity prototypes. So dito makikita natin na from sketches, nag-evolve tayo, and in paper prototypes, meron na tayong medium, in which here, cellphone yung ginamit niya as medium. And makikita natin dito na with the use of papers and pens, paper and pens, meron na siya ng user interaction and user design, or graphics kung tawagin, GUI, kung anong gusto niyang makita. To continue our discussion under the low fidelity prototypes, our third one, or the third example of this one, is the click-through prototypes. In here, we can see that it depicts the elements of a web, or on the pages of a web, or the screen of an app. Here, makikita natin na on number 1, we have a home, and under that, or under the 3 horizontal lines on the upper left corner of the screen, we can see a side menu, wherein we can see subcategories of what we can see on the app as a whole. The name of the authors and the articles. Yung elements na tinatawag dito is, kung makikita nyo, yung elements of a picture and yung format mismo. Kumbaga, blueprint siya nung app na gustong buuhin. And it is connected through hotspots. Now, we are going to proceed on to our next type of fidelity prototypes, which is the high fidelity prototypes. High fidelity prototypes are aesthetically pleasing, and their function is closer to that of the final product. Since high fidelity nga siya, mas malapit na siya doon sa final product natin. And it is more advanced than the low fidelity ones. Under the high fidelity prototypes, meron din tayong tatlo, which are the interactive prototypes, the digital prototypes, and decoded prototypes. Ito na yung kanina dun sa paper prototypes natin, yung interactive prototypes. Interactive prototypes are more advanced versions of click-through prototypes. In interactive prototypes, both na siya, clickable and responsive. It also enables users to interact with them and see animation in response. For our next one, digital prototypes, it is the most common type of high fidelity prototypes. So, digital prototypes is developed using prototyping software that lets user experience designers create aesthetically rich interaction and even animated product prototypes of a user interface that is almost ready for implementation. Ito na yung sinasabi ko kanina na in high fidelity prototypes, these prototypes are almost ready for implementation, kaya siya tinahawag na high fidelity. For our last one in high fidelity prototypes, and I guess this is the last topic we are going to tackle in this module, this is the coded prototypes. These prototypes is more complex than the other two because it requires the UX or user experience designers or prototypers to know how to code. They must know how to code. These prototypes are close to the final design of a product and are best option for generating user feedback since um, malapit na siya dun sa final product. Ito na yung best options para gamitin dun sa user feedback. Kung makita man ng user feedback na may dapat pang baguhin in this one or dapat pang idagdag, ay doon na yung parang pinaka-final part na siya ng prototyping before the implementation of the program or the product. So, this ends our presentation for the subject human-computer interaction. And again, this is Gregorio. And I hope you learned from listening on me discussing this module 5 of our subject.